remember that transition of identity being like just driving back on the freeway, like soaked in milk and spit up, and seeing all these women on my way back being like, she's got heels on and a latte, and she's like a professional woman, and I'm like a dumpster fire of a human being. I was the managing editor of the Law Review, and I clerked for a federal judge, and I'm so smart, and I'm a lawyer too. I really thought I was what I did and what I accomplished, or thinking I was who loved me or how they loved me, and realizing that when everything is stripped away, I'm just his. I left working in women's ministry in December of 2022, and that was extremely hard. The rest of my life was really like to hell in a handbasket. My daughter's sick, and then I had a toddler at the time, and the other kids were going through stuff because my daughter was so sick. And then my guardian angel's like, just turn your face. Just turn your face back toward him. And then you're in it with him. Just set your phone down and turn your face toward him. Versus like, I have to prep for this. I wasn't in public ministry anymore. I didn't think I was worth somebody spending that time with. I was just a normal Midwest middle-aged mom of 5. And why would anybody want to invest this time in me? Me being like, well, I guess I've exhausted every other option. I've tried escapism. I've tried numbing myself. I've tried busying myself. I've tried everything else, Lord, and it's just you, I guess.
Hi, friend.
Kitty, it's so good to see you. Oh my gosh, you look amazing.
No, you are the sweetest human on the planet. Like, I just want to bottle you into a glass jar and in a very creepy way, put you in my pocket and just take you out every now and then and let you breathe and let you say the kindest things. I just want to say you were the kindest soul on the internet that I know.
It's easy to be kind to you. Well, I think what I love that you bring to the internet, I mean, I love a lot of things you bring to the internet, Liv, but you bring such authenticity and you just bring yourself. And I think I'm tempted to show up online with filters. I'd love to look better or my house cleaner or like have really great insights to give. And I don't. And so when I look and see friends like you where you're sharing where you really are and what you're really up to, those are the influencers that we need. We don't need people who are telling us what to do. We need people who are just living their lives authentically in Christ. And that's the guiding light to Jesus, not the like house,
But that's what you bring now. Like you do. And here's what's so cool. Like, okay, you started out your life in a very different path than where I think you are today, right? I mean, didn't you kind of think if we were to talk to 18-year-old Nell and we were to say, this is where you're at today, would you be surprised?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm a little shocked and a little bit like, what happened?
What poker game did you lose? No, you won. You're winning. That's the difference. Now you know this is what real winning is. Okay, so tell me, where were you at 18? Where were you as a young spry lass? What was it that you wanted to be and do, and what were you going to do with the world, my friend, when you came out with all the stars in your eyes?
Yeah, I went to the University of Minnesota to study creative writing. I loved poetry. My senior thesis in college was a poetry manuscript, Liv.
I didn't know that.
And I loved horses. So I had horses and I did show jumping. I spent a lot of time at the barn. So between poetry and horses, I don't have either of those things. I mean, I like poetry and I admire a horse when we drive past it, but I still have a house full of tack. I have like custom made saddles and bridles rotting away in my basement because I can't get rid of them. And we don't have horses in our lives. So yeah, English and horses, and thought I would own a little hobby farm. And I don't know how I thought I would pay for the hobby farm being a poet. I think that's where I decided to go to law school because, people with MFAs aren't generally also horseback riders. Doesn't really.
Yeah, those two don't normally go together. Really, so where did you go to law school?
So where'd you go to law school? I went to Ave Maria School of Law back when it was in Michigan. Now it's down there.
Yes, now it's in Florida.
I always think like we went to Gray, Michigan. A couple years later, I could have been on the beach. Come on. But that's where I
Jeez, Tom Monahan.
I know.
Think ahead next time.
Come on. So my husband, I met him in law school. He's from Nebraska, which if you're not from the Midwest, you're like, aren't all those Midwest states kind of the same?
They're the same.
Kind of the same. And Nebraska's near Minnesota, but people in Minnesota love to stay in Minnesota. I think because Minneapolis, St. Paul is like 4 million people. It's a pretty big metropolitan area. It has like a tier two, art museum. We have like fantastic restaurants, like an incredible diversity and a natural immigrant population. Like there's a lot happening in the Twin Cities.
Who knew? What a gem.
I know, and an international airport to boot.
Stop.
So when we started dating, I was like, hey, if you really want to date me, I'm not moving to Nebraska. It's all the Midwest. So we met in Michigan and we did end up in Minnesota. But I had a kind of a way station there as a clerk for a federal judge out in Las Vegas. Liv, that's a place.
No, you did not. You lived in Vegas?
In Vegas, which everything is open 24 hours in Vegas. Like your dry cleaning.
Interesting. Really?
Places that you may or may not want to visit.
Well, you gotta listen. The feather boas have to get cleaned at some point. So, I mean, it makes sense that you're gonna need a little sequencing needs to get a little shiny with the cleaners. That makes sense. I mean,
You're gonna drop it off after your shift. So when people ask
right, look, I got a little schmooze on my sequence. I gotta go get it cleaned.
People would be like,
I love it.
How was Vegas? And I was like, I clerked for a federal judge. They're like, come on, what'd you really do in Vegas? Like,
I'm Taylor Swift. I'm the original showgirl.
Yeah, and then we ended up back here in Minnesota, which is where I am now. And I really didn't think all these things. Yeah, these curving roads of like loving poetry and loving English and then being a prosecutor, and then working in women's ministry and now doing consulting for different Catholic ministries and writing and speaking. Definitely not at 43 where I thought, I don't know what I thought when I was 18, but I didn't even know this part existed. I bet you feel that way too, Liv. Like you didn't know this life could exist. So you weren't dreaming about it because it wasn't even on your radar.
No. Well, my radar was I wanted to be on Saturday Night Live. So I'm actually living in disappointment, but
no, this is way better. You are having your own show.
I'm kidding. I've got my own show. What am I talking about? No. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I was a kindergarten teacher actually. So I got my degree in human development and I got a post-baccalaureate in early childhood. And I think they just thought I was a really tall 5-year-old who liked to play with Play-Doh. Like, I don't think they thought I was their teacher. I think they were like, well, the tall one will get the things, I guess. Who is that? She keeps telling us to get in a line. Because I really was like, this is so fun. They smelled like puppies. They acted like puppies. Everyone had pee on their clothes. It was just very much, you just threw crackers at them and taught them colors. It was very... All the parents that I taught their kids are in panic, right? As if they're listening to this podcast. But those kids are in their 30s now. They're fine. They've made it. They're all potty trained. But yeah, no. So I did not think I would be here now. I did not. I thought I would be, summers off for the rest of my life. And instead, every day is off. I'm a lady of leisure.
Every day's on. You're like on pilgrimage. You're taking care of your dogs. You're taking your daughter places. You're going to visit your missionary son. Like you're
true.
Such a supportive wife. Your husband has a very
Thank you.
stressful stuff, and you're like right there to support him. Which I think that's the unspoken parts of like women's lives that whether you're married or not, most of our time is spent supporting other people.
Yes, it is
a lot of bandwidth to be supporting and loving and present.
It's true.
We love.
It's true. No, it is. And it's interesting, and I think what's interesting about your story, Nell, is that you went into this, I don't know if you call law corporate, but I'm going to go ahead and say that. Yeah. So you start off in corporate or you start off in, law, and you transitioned into a life that is in your home, but you're still working. Like you're still, and you're doing all these beautiful things with your gifts and talents, but in a way that you didn't foresee. Where was God in that decision? Was he even a part of the decision to put your gifts and talents in your four walls of your home?
I think, the quieter I can be inside, the more I can sense his movement. Some people feel like God's speaking so loudly into their lives. And, is like very, very, very much the cruise ship director. And I always admire them thinking like, wow, you got the volume turned up, like your receiver's turned on. And I think I'm such a loud person that God gets like really quiet so that I have to be quiet to hear his movement. But
that's interesting.
The transition from, I remember dropping, okay, so I practiced law, then we got married. I was pregnant like 4 or 5 months into being married and continued to practice throughout my pregnancy, but was really, really sick. And it could kind of tell, like, I had options. My mom was willing to watch our oldest when he was born. I had other ways to kind of have childcare, but between my husband being an attorney and me being an attorney, we figured like we'd like one of us to be home when our kids are little. So I remember that transition of identity being like, I was the managing editor of the Law Review and I clerked for a federal judge and I'm so smart and I'm a lawyer too, and dropping my husband at his big law firm in downtown Minneapolis and driving back with a baby in the car and just driving back on the freeway like soaked in milk and spit up and like my husband's dirty shirt, and driving me like, and seeing all these women on my way back being like, she's got heels on and a latte and she's like a professional woman and I'm like a dumpster fire of a human being, just like driving back to my house being like, who am I? I really thought I was what I did and what I accomplished. So the Lord's movement in that was kind of like, hey, I'm going to invite you to your Nazareth years where nobody knows and nobody cares what you're doing. No one's praising you, right? This is like the very beginning of mommy bloggers where we go online together and be like, the baby, spit up, what do I do? But really it was just like, please, I need to connect with other moms because I'm in my home. I had 3 kids in 4 years, was kind of drowning in littles and had to learn like, you're not what you do. You're not pleasing God based on how well you perform out in the world.
Were you always performative, Nell?
Yeah.
Were you always like, even as a child, is that why you went into law? Because you're performing with your intelligence or performing with what you could accomplish?
These are these great conversations where we get to kind of look back. I'm thinking, I'm definitely a people pleaser, which most attorneys are a little more aggressive than I am and like more conflict driven. I think I found it like to be with an English major, what can I do practically speaking that can support my horses? My desire to do like the most expensive hobby aside from cocaine. And what can I do?
You learned that in Vegas, I'm guessing. I'm just kidding.
When I was at the dry cleaner with my...
While you were at the dry cleaner with your feather boa, you learned that there was only one thing more expensive than your horses. Well, it's good to know. At least people are learning on the podcast in case they have goals.
Cocaine. But what I really liked about law, which actually, I think when you say that, Liv, like when you say you have this background in kindergarten, I'm like, yeah. Because what I loved, my favorite part about law was engaging with people, like being in the courtroom and, either trying to unpack the story or tell the story. And like for you, the interactivity I see you doing and the invitation into learning. I think the best kindergarten teachers aren't like, sit down, ABCs, knock it out. They're like, come and see what I'm doing. Let's get involved. Let's try it. Yeah. And I feel like even your Instagram account is like, what's Liv up to? Like, oh, we get to come learn. Not because she's teaching in a obnoxious way, but like she's inviting us to go with her on this adventure. And I think I like speaking and storytelling, and somehow being a prosecutor was it is storytelling in its weird corporate way. But now that is a lot more of kind of that same gift and talent. Isn't it funny? You can find the thread, like different professions.
I know.
But like,
isn't that neat?
I'm still me.
You're still you. Yeah. And so how are you using it today? What are you writing? How are you using that poetry? And where are your writings these days? Because the blogging is gone. Nobody does the do you have a Substack?
I do have
actually
I do.
You do?
I do. I think I have almost 3,000 followers. But it's just a
very fancy schmancy.
Nell.
That seems like a big deal to me.
Me blabbing, Liv.
No, I doubt that.
Blabbing. I do. I have a Substack, but I've been really grateful. I can't share yet, but I was invited to write my first standalone book. I've contributed to like over a dozen books and edited 40 books and done a lot in writing, but I'm just putting finishing touches on my first like just me book, which is really exciting.
Can you say with who, or you can't say with who?
I think I can.
Is that the secret?
It's not a Catholic publisher. Somebody in the real world. Not that the Catholic world is the real world. It is. It is.
You're real.
No, I just kind of fell in my lap. So that one, I have
That's
a book
amazing.
proposal I'm working on. But I think the most of the writing is happening more listening right now. I mean, I love writing and I love sharing kind of what's happening interiorly, but I'm learning, and maybe you are too, Liv, like the older we get, the wiser, not even wiser, but more like all those years I spent verbally processing on our sweet little mommy blogs, like verbally processing what was happening. Now the Lord is like writing more things in my heart and teaching me things that maybe they're not all for the internet. I love Instagram as that, like the micro blogging and the captions, but a lot of it is him just saying, just listen.
Just be quiet. Yes.
Yeah, shut up now.
So what is your identity today? Here you are, you're 43. Is that what you said?
I'm 43.
I'm older than you. I have so many more years. I'm 48. So I've got a lot to teach you, friend.
Girl, I'm here for it.
No, I have nothing. Nell, you teach me. So here you are, you're 43. What is your identity today? How would you describe your identity to a young woman who's just starting? Like who's 43-year-old Nell? What is your identity? What have you discovered?
I mean, I'm really just his beloved. And that sounds so Christianese. I could cringe hearing somebody else say like, oh, how Catholic of her. But really, I'm his beloved.
That's what it is. And it took a while to figure that out, I'm guessing.
Decades and decades. And a lot of stuff, and a lot of hardship, and a lot of trying on all the hats of like, maybe I'm lovable because I'm good at X. And maybe I'm lovable because my husband loves me. And maybe I'm lovable because I have these kids. And when they were little, they would wear cute outfits for the internet. Now, of course, no one will wear anything that's cute at all. It's all polyester jerseys, Liv. Oh, all these sports clothes I'm surrounded by. Oh. But really thinking I was what I did, or thinking I was who loved me or how they loved me, and realizing that when everything is stripped away, and I have gone through periods where I really had great loss of what I thought was my support system or my community, to see like I'm just his, like hidden in his. And that's the only thing that can't be taken away, because it's a gift from him that we don't earn and we don't deserve, but he gives it to us.
Yes, yes, and he does it because he loves us. When did you get that? When do you have a moment that in your story that you're like, "Oh, I understand now. I get it." And you don't have to share if there's details, but like was there a moment that you were like, this is my come to Jesus moment when I got what the Lord has been trying to teach me?
Yes, I do. I have a really it's kind of a drawn out moment, but I left my work.
We've got the time.
We got time, girl.
We got time, girl. It's all you. We're in my living room hanging out. We
are in the Live Out Loud. We are living in Liv's room.
Exactly.
I left working in women's ministry in December of 2022, and that was extremely hard. And a component of that was that one of our daughters was really, really sick with they couldn't figure out what she was sick with. So from January till the following September, I think I had a few speaking engagements I already agreed to, but I didn't work at all. I didn't, I wasn't online. I took this huge step back to take care of her, but also in the meanwhile, a dear priest friend who was on sabbatical said, "Hey, I would love to direct you in what's called a 19th annotated Ignatian retreat." And of course I was like, "I'm fine. I don't need any help. I'm fine."
I'm fine.
My husband was like, "Please help her. She's not fine." While my daughter was here trying to get a diagnosis and trying to kind of recuperate, recover, and she was out of school, I would do a holy hour every day except for Sundays. And I would just do it actually right up here in our little prayer room in our house if I couldn't make it to an adoration chapel. And I had specific graces and specific scriptures to pray with. And then the priest, my director, and I would meet every 5 days, and we'd review the holy hours. And we would, then I'd get new scripture, new graces assigned. And that's oftentimes people do this in a group with their parish, but it's a little bit like a 30-day retreat where religious will go on these 30-day retreats, but us lay people, we can't really leave our lives for 30 days. So it was a 30-week retreat. So it's a stretched out. At a 30-day, you do 5 holy hours a day and meet with your director every single day. So this is kind of a way of an accordion stretching it out. And in those 30 weeks, I went from, it probably took me the first third just accepting that God wanted to give me this space and time to pray. Because the rest of my life was really like to hell in a handbasket. It's like so chaotic, really hard. My daughter's sick, and then I had a toddler at the time, and the other kids were going through stuff because my daughter was so sick. But every morning, really early, my husband would just do breakfast and take care of everybody. I know your husband's the same, where he's like, I'm taking care of it. You go do your thing.
Yeah.
So the first third was just kind of trying to accept like the gift of the priest time, and that God wanted, I wasn't in public ministry anymore. I didn't think I was worth somebody spending that time with. I was just a normal Midwest middle-aged mom of 5. And why would anybody want to invest this time in me? Like, well, how did I deserve God's attention and love in this way? And then the middle third of the retreat was just some really incredible imagery and prayer. Like the kind of stuff if someone had told me, I'd be like, what are you smoking? What mushrooms are you on?
And again, we're back in Vegas. No,
really
I'm kidding.
Weird. We're back to my Vegas days. We're just like incredible spiritual imaginative movements in prayer that I had never experienced. I didn't grow up in any sort of charismatic movement or charismatic church. It just wasn't very natural to me. And then the last third of my retreat live was like, this sounds weird, but every day that hour was just an invitation into silence. Like actually silence, not like checking my phone. Am I done yet? Did somebody email me? Oh, I'm supposed to be praying, but like experiencing silence in a way. It had to be supernatural because I'm not that disciplined. I couldn't enter into contemplation. It was like, it was given to me. And just kind of descending like deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into the heart of God's silence and finding him in that. That sounds weird, but like finding him in the silence
Not
and the
at all.
stillness. And it was there, like by the end of the retreat, that everything had been stripped away. When I stepped away from women's ministry, I lost like best friendships. I lost women I'd worked with. I mean, dozens and dozens of women I'd worked with for almost a decade. All of that was just gone. And it was just kind of stripped down to like the Lord and myself, and him repeatedly saying like, am I not enough for you? Like I've drawn you into the desert. Like, am I not enough for you? Me being like, well, I guess I've exhausted every other option. I've tried escapism. I've tried numbing myself. I've tried busying myself. Not because I'm so great and holy did I choose him, but because it's like, well, I've tried everything else. I've tried everything else, Lord, and it's just you, I guess. And he's like, fine, I guess, Nell, come on. So that movement, that was 2023, gosh, 3 years ago. And that really changed. It changed everything, but it gave me this incredible freedom of like, I love the consulting I do. I wrote, like Ascension had a planner last year. No, I guess it's for this year. It's for 2026. I got to write the prayers for it. People invite me to do wonderful things, and they're all wonderful, but like all of that is overflow. All of that is grace and gift. Like that doesn't have to rock my boat or change how I feel about myself or see myself or change my confidence, because I'm not confident on myself. I'm just confident in him that he loves me, and that's enough for me.
That's enough. That's enough. Would you do this retreat again, or have you done it again?
It was, I certainly would. I think I feel like I'm still reaping graces from it.
Sure.
That was a wonderful priest. And now I see a different priest who's my spiritual director. I see him once a month. And every now and then I'll bring up like, something from my long retreat. He's like, yes, Nell, your long retreat. We all know you did a long retreat. There's still a lot of outpouring of graces. I think that what I would really love, and what I've been able to do, is like a 4-day. I'd love to do an 8-day silent retreat, but probably for the season of life where my kids are now.
Sure.
It would be tricky to once again get up at like 4:30 in the morning, because actually, some of my kids are awake at 5 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning.
Oh my gosh!
But I think I'm kind of like, if I won't go and work out unless there's a trainer waiting for me. I'm not going to practice unless I've already paid for music lessons. Like it really took having a priest be like, well, we're meeting in 5 days. Better do that. I could not show up, Liv, and be like, I didn't do it. I was tired.
Yeah. You had to.
The accountability. So even doing the shorter stints of like a 4-day, I've done a couple 4-day retreats, but to be able to do an 8-day where it's like really immersive, but maybe a more discrete period of time would be great. And my sisters and all my friends were like, you silent? Because my first 4-day, it was a silent retreat. They're like, how could you be quiet for 4 days? I'm like, only the Lord. We have the gift of gab, right, Liv? Like, these are gifts.
He gave it to us. Like, this is what I used to get in trouble in school for talking, and now I tell my dad I get paid for it. So, friend.
Liv.
That's what all those check marks were. And you too. Like you had this, here you are with this English degree and you're using it. You're communicating. You're a communicator. Yeah. That's what you are. Yeah. Whether it's on the paper or with your mouth. That's how I see it. So are you able to slip into silence easier now? Like that's something I've always wanted to know. Once you get in there, like, are you able to revisit? Does that make sense? Like, can you now get there quicker?
You know, it's funny. What it looks like for me now is just kind of turning my face back toward him, like during the day. Instead of, because I will get trapped into thinking, okay, I need to like get ready into silence. I need to like get ready for silence. I need to get ready to receive and be in his presence. And then my guardian angel is like, what are you talking about? Just turn your face. It's like, turn your face.
Turn your face.
Just turn your face back toward him. And then you're in it with him. You're like in the deepest of the deep water. Just set your phone down and turn your face toward him. Versus like, I have to prep for this. Maybe I should doom scroll a little bit more just to get out of my system. It's like when you eat all the chocolate before the day you're going to stop eating chocolate. You're like, I better eat all the ice. I just had a lot
You're
of
whistling
candy.
Dixie.
A lot of Easter candy because I'm going to be done having Easter candy after Divine Mercy Sunday. So I better eat all the sense of like, I better consume a lot of movement and motion because then I'm going to be silent. Just instead, it's like, just turn your face. Like he's right here.
That's beautiful. I've never heard anyone say that before. I love that. And so how many times a day do you think you turn your face?
75.
I'm really behind.
All day long.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. It's like all day long. I just think if God is calling us, we're not in a, obviously we're not in a cloister called to this like, this methodology of like living out an order and living out an horarium, living out a way of life. Like we as lay people, we actually are invited to have a really abundant interior life to live. But it looks like doing that while we're driving the carpool and we're responding to the emails and we're figuring out what we're going to have for dinner and we're, taking care of our parents as they age. Like all of those things are not in opposition to having like a tranquility within. He's abiding. He wants to abide. Make the guest bedroom up and let him abide. And then turn your face to him all day long while we're doing the other stuff. I think it's like a both and. Otherwise, I never will have time for him because I'm too busy. We're all too busy. We're very busy.
Yeah, for sure. Now tell me, how does this affect your marriage? Because you've also spoken pretty openly about your marriage and you've shared, which it seems like you guys have the cutest love story in the world, but how has your marriage evolved? Here you are, you're 40. How long have you guys been married at this point? 17 years?
17 years.
17 years.
17 years. And we've been together 20. Not as long as you guys. You guys have the cutest story ever. People don't know that. They better look it up. Because
we met so young. We were 15. I know, we were just best friends. He was the captain of the football team and I was the funny fat girl, and I helped him get dates at his high school. So actually date girls at my high school. We went to different high schools. We met in the youth group, and then I know that's true. And then finally he's like, well, she's fun. And so he stuck around and it worked out. But with you guys, how has your marriage evolved? Take me from those two attorneys who were going to save the world doing law things with horses.
all the law things, all the horses.
Law things with all the horses to now this family of 7 and, a centered wife who has changed her identity and found who she is, resting in God. How has that affected your marriage?
In a way, it feels like I'm catching up is not quite the right word, but it feels like all of this movement has brought me to where my husband kind of already was. Like I married him knowing he had a really profound spiritual life, but I was kind of almost on the outside looking a little bit like, what are you praying? Oh, Liturgy of the Hours. That's great. I want to finish watching my show. Are you going to watch with me? Yeah. Okay. Come on. All right.
No, we might be separated at birth. I love you.
Like, I don't want to pray that thing. I don't know. All the flips are really hard. Like, what are you doing over there? Okay. So to go from kind of knowing that there was, we were on different trajectories in our spiritual life.
Okay.
And meaning like both Catholic, both raised Catholic, but he had been in seminary long before I met him, Have to make sure everyone knows that. Did not meet him.
No
in the
scandal.
seminary. Yeah, no scandal. He'd been in seminary, then he'd been a hermit, like an actual hermit, like
No.
full beard, buzz head hermit, gave away all of his possessions hermit for a while. I know. So he had this like we're 4 years apart. So we married when I was 26 and he was 30. And he'd already had kind of the decade of his 20s of like really deepening his spiritual path. So I knew this getting
Wow.
married, but I didn't really realize it. You know, they had kids back to back to back to back, and so busy with kids and so busy with, he was a partner in a law firm, like busy, busy, busy. And it wasn't until I think the really struck me, like working in women's ministry helped. I got more in tune with like an interior life, but I was still very busy for the Lord. And it wasn't until my long retreat where I realized my husband Anthony has this incredible reservoir within, and that's where he is like the most patient man. I actually think our husbands would really get along. Like he's very patient.
Yeah, he sounds very similar to Nathan.
He's very Saint Joseph, like just wants to provide. He wants me to
Yeah.
shine, wants me to go have
Mm-hmm.
all these opportunities, just wants to like provide and protect, but in like a very supportive way.
Mm-hmm.
So I did tell the priest when I started my retreat, like, hey, I really want to understand like the hermit within my husband. And I'm so busy,
Ooh.
but he has like a real interior life. And if this retreat, a goal of the retreat, a hope of the retreat would be that I would actually understand what it means to desire silence and solitude instead of being like, why are you alone up there praying? What are you doing? Come on down. Come on, we're going to make some popcorn. We got to do our thing. And Anthony wasn't like constantly pulling away from me in that regard, but like clearly his prayer time was very, you know, we would pray together, but he also just had this depth of reservoir of an interior life. I don't really have a better way to say it. So
Yeah,
the
very
evolution,
sacred.
yeah, like very sacred and very loving. You know, always has like his Liturgy of the Hours book out like in the playroom with the kids, not like pulling away and outside of family time, but like very much like, oh, just who wants to pray with me, and loves going, you know, to chant at mass and vespers and all these things that are kind of organic and natural now for our family. So instead of me thinking, gosh, that's something separate in you, and I'm a little bit left out. And he didn't want me to feel left out, but I was a little left out because I didn't really want to enter into silence. That sounded boring.
Yeah,
Boring. So for
totally.
me to have this experience of like, gosh, there's a real richness and a real tapestry and like real depth in the fabric of silence. There's a lot there. It's not just boring checking out. It's actually God's voice for me. Now I feel like I understand him. Like our marriage is deeper because I actually understand my husband more. Like to, you know, we think about like conformity to Christ. We want to grow and be more like Christ. And I'm looking at my husband thinking like, I couldn't even appreciate how much like Christ you are until I realized how where kind of where the gap was for me. Like, oh, in conformity to Christ, I look more like myself, like how God made me, but I also look a little bit more like my husband. It's like when people look like their dogs, I look more like my husband. On the inside, he does have a buzz head. So on the inside.
I love that. And so how have these last 3 years been in your marriage? Have these been the strongest years that you've had?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Really?
For sure. And even just we've had more, we were writing down like, all right, how many injuries, illnesses, and it's like we've had such an onslaught in the last 3 years of kids and like breaking bones and mysterious diseases, like a disproportionate amount of diagnoses and things. And realizing because we're not just rooted in each other, because we're both like really plugged into the font of love. I mean, it's not fun. It's not fun, you know, when you're like, oh, another thing. But to not look at each other and be like, I'm so annoyed we have another thing. We can be like, hey, this Christ crucified, like he's inviting us onto the cross with him. And I'm not picking at you or bickering with you because I'm upset and annoyed. I'm like, all right, we got to get back on the cross. Like that's where he's inviting us. Okay. And really making time, like we really make time for each other to go on silent retreats now in the last couple of years. Like I try to send him away because he's always like, no, you go. I'll take care of the kids. You go. And I'm like, you have to go too.
Yes.
So he goes on, I try to send him like twice a year, maybe 3 times a year, even if it's just for like a Friday to a Sunday. And it can be like, we've got a lot of retreat centers around. It could be a friend's cabin, but like, I know that about him now. And I know he needs the silence and the solitude to come back better. And he knows I need it. So that's something I was always like, where are you going? We have 5 kids. Don't even. I need help. It's very selfish, honestly. So now I'm like, please leave. Please go away. I also have older kids. You know, that helps when you have babies. It's hard.
It is hard. Yeah. No, and it's a season. It's a different, and you're, and that's what people have to understand. You didn't do this 30-day or 30-week retreat, or your long retreat you didn't do when you were having infants, right away on your first try. So people have to understand that, like for sure. And that's what I love, that it's your story. So you're in a deeper part of your marriage, which I just think it's so funny that you said it feels like you're catching up, because I feel like we just celebrated our 25th. Well, we're close now to our 26th wedding anniversary, and we've been together 31 years. It'll be 32 years this year. And that's a long time. And so, I feel like we're just now getting it. Like, I know that seems so dumb, but like, does that make sense? Like, I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, I get this. Okay. This is how this works. This is how we go. This is like, it just really is starting to make sense. And there were so many times, Nell, I don't know your story about your marriage very much really at all, but there were so many times either one of us could have walked away easily. And with secular reasons that, most people would be like, sure, go right ahead. Like, yeah, I understand that. And I look back now and I see the richness. I don't know about you, but being in a long-term marriage and seeing the beauty of, man, I'm really glad we did get back on that cross together. Does that make sense? Like, we didn't say, you know what? I could peace out, and I'm going to, because it is a choice. Everybody has the same choice all the time. And it doesn't take much to leave if you really wanted to leave.
No.
One stomach bug and you could be out of there. It's like, I mean, listen, I get it. Like, that's the worst thing ever. But so how do you see, this new, like, have you seen different phases of your marriage? They say that you marry multiple people. It's the same person, but that you're marrying these different people. Has your husband evolved, or has it been you that has evolved the whole time? I mean, obviously he's changed. He's a human being, but does that make sense? Like, has he also evolved as you have?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just seeing what having children will do. They really break you in like the best way. Because I mean, even something as simple as in our early years, I would get very upset and very emotional. We'd have these arguments, and I would think like, he's never going to understand me and my like kind of irrational feelings about whatever the topic is, and wanting to get to the bottom of a fight where he's like asleep on the fight and wake up the next day. And I'm like, you do not ever go to bed on your anger. Like, having these disagreements, they weren't frequent, but enough to realize like, gosh, as soon as we were blessed with multiple little kids, who's got the time and energy to fight? You're like, I gotta let that go. Because we do have a stomach bug we have to face together right now. And we do have a colicky baby, or we do have a thing. So even in early marriage, watching how much my desire for like resolution and communication my way, I had to kind of let that go. And he had to learn too. Like, we had to learn how to actually survive those young years. So for anyone who does have a bunch of little kids, the internet might paint it out as like all cute matching linen clothing and like lots of romance with their husbands, but for most of us, it's like a bit of survival and figuring out what are the big things to make a big deal about and what aren't. There was a definitely like that evolution early on, and then kind of in the middle years of like, where are we going to live and what are we going to do? We moved, oh gosh, almost 10 years ago into the home we're in now, and I love our house. It's this beautiful historic house in St. Paul, Minnesota, on like a cobblestone street in this wonderful neighborhood. But I remember just this discernment of like, he is naturally, he's from Nebraska. He lives in like outside of Lincoln, loves being in the country. Like, are we going to buy somewhere further out and then have a longer drive for the kids' school? Or just those tension times of figuring out like, our decision making is actually about what's best for our family, not what's best for each of us individually or our own preferences. And that movement there was like a real area of growth of figuring out where are we going to put down our roots and where are we going to let our kids flourish, even if like I'm not on a horse farm and he's not in a small town, but we're right in the middle of the city, and this is what works for our parochial school and for our kids' activities. And I do see a lot of couples that like next big phase as being a real time of just fracture, like people wanting to live their own lives. And we actually, we're not living our own lives. We're living a life for our family. And that's hard. It's hard.
It is hard.
I want what I want, but what I want doesn't work for our family.
Right. Right. They voted and they said no. No, I hear you. And so let me ask you this. So we've talked about you as a person. We've talked about you in your marriage. I would love, especially because you kind of touched on it, and I want to be delicate, you know, because I want to respect your story. But how does the evolution of female friendship change and organically evolve from the beginning of motherhood and wifehood to 17 years in? You know, how has that changed?
Gosh, Liv, I remember being pregnant and literally looking for friends at church, being like, does she have young kids? Oh, it's a couple. Do they have kids the same age? Like, and as babies kept coming, being like, we need couple friends and I need women. Like, I started a mom's group at my parish because I didn't know any of the other moms in my parish. I needed other women in the journey so badly. And some of those early mom friends in real life, right? Not online, in real life at my parish, are still really, really close friends. And some of them have just kind of evaporated. I had one like bestie when my kids were really little. And actually, I ran into her husband the other day, and I had one of those panic moments, you know, where it's almost like seeing an ex, where I was like, oh, your wife and I haven't talked in like 15 years, 12 years. Oh my gosh. The friendship just kind of fizzled out.
Yeah.
So to watch and see, like, what is it that makes a successful women's friendship? What is it that keeps a friendship going? And then women that I knew online that I worked with for so many years, some of whom I was extremely close with, like every single day close with, that I really don't speak to anymore. And, you know, we don't know what God's going to do with our stories there. So I think the biggest iteration for me of friendship was learning to have pretty realistic, and this sounds bad, but kind of low expectations of the women in my life, like to be authentic, to show up as myself, but not to expect them to understand everything that was going on or to track with all of my drama and my stories. I'm very blessed to be really close with my sisters. So one sister in particular, we have kids the same age. She lives in New York, but we are on the phone every day, and have that one person who's kind of the vault of all my stories. So then my other friendships are kind of freed up. Like, if she's able to get together, great. If she's not, I'm not going to hold it against her. If she doesn't really understand what I'm going through, that's okay. And even just, you know, in our political landscape, just watching friendships fall apart over that, you know, and trying to feel like, gosh, some of these women I've known for decades, we've like, you know, been with them as they buried their babies. And I am not going to let whatever's happening out in the political landscape separate these friendships. But it takes a lot of tenderness and just kind of allowing things to lie fallow when they need to like chill, and having really low isn't the right word, just modified expectations.
Realistic expectations of what people are capable of.
We're blessed to have husbands. You and I both have husbands who are really like our person. And then that I even have one other person, and that is a miracle. My one sister out in New York. And then to have a sister-in-law I'm close with, and my other sisters, and to have any group of women, it's just seems to be successful if I don't have a lot of expectations on them. And I let them be who they are without pressing in on like, but these are my views on that subject. One time there's a real hot topic about, in my extended family, about nursing without a cover. Because I was like, I'm not putting a cover over my baby. I don't care who sees this business. We could be at the beach and you would see more. So like, I'm feeding my babies. Remember that being a big deal, but those friendships, relationships stayed intact because people kind of let me have my like very crunchy mom era. And I moved on. Don't you feel like women friendships are really hard, Liv? I think they're hard. Way harder than anything else. Like way harder.
They really are.
I think they're hard.
Yeah. No, they are, and we're so hard on each other. Like there's these mommy wars, and then there's these Catholic mommy wars. Oh. You know, like like if your kids aren't, you know, harvesting bees and honey in your backyard and then making beeswax candles, you know, for the new Triduum Mass of your porch. I mean, like, it's insane as they're like knitting like at 3:00 every day at Chapel Vale. I'm like, okay, listen, we don't have bees. Like, you lost me at the beginning of that sequence. I Have none of those things. So my kids are apparently heathens. I don't know, because we don't, knit at 3:00 every day. But and like you said, like you've got the mommy wars of like, well, did your kid sleep in bed with you? Was your kid Ferbered? Was your kid eating, solid food on day 4 of life? Was your kid, like, I'm trying to pick extremes because it's so obnoxious. Did your kid ever have Coke before they were, Coca-Cola before they were 18? Did you nurse with or without a thing? Did you give birth vaginally? Or did you give birth C-section? Like, why do we care how a human being exited a womb? Like, why is this a conversation or a level of let me decide how woman you are? You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty womanly. I don't care how the baby got out of there. It came out. It's here. What are we doing? Like, why can't we just be loving and supportive of one another? I mean, how do you feel about the mommy wars?
Preach, Liv, preach. I mean, I can say it as a person who like ran a little natural mommy blog, and I'm sure I was insufferable in so many ways, being like, I do all of these natural things. And then by my 5th, I had to have a C-section. I mean, he's watched more screen time and had more sugar than everybody else combined. And I think it's so humbling to be like, well, sure, there are these ideals, but we're all also living in our actual lives. Yeah, and if the call is to personal holiness, it actually has no bearing us judging how other people are parenting or partnering. It really doesn't. It doesn't help us grow in personal holiness. It really doesn't. We are so rare to what we need to offer fraternal correction. I can think of like a handful of times where it would be like really on my conscience.
Sure.
To say something. Very, very few things need to be shared with others to correct them. Very few. So what a lot of wasted energy and time. Instead of, how can I support you? What is your story? Oh, you had to have a C-section. What happened? How did you feel about that? You felt good about that? Great. That's the end of the story.
Yeah. Oh, you had to give your kid formula and you couldn't nurse your baby? Okay. Is your baby alive? Okay, fabulous. Like
your kids are in public school. Your kids are in private school. Your kids are in private school. Your kids are
we're homeschooling. We're doing what? Who cares?
Discerning what's best for your family. Kind of trusting each other as women. Like, you are discerning what's best for your family. I don't know all your factors. It's not my business to know all your factors. And I think you've seen with your kids, they just have different needs. Each child's different. And you're trying to figure out what's going to work for this child. And the judgment's just such a waste of time, especially online.
Such a waste of
you
time.
Don't have anything else to do. Surely, like the missionaries of charity could use you dropping off groceries. Surely you could like pay an extra grocery. I don't know. You could call your legislator. Like, surely there's something else you could do with your time.
Social justice. Like, do real justice. Like,
corporal works of mercy. Let's do it.
Amen, sister. Oh my gosh, I love you to pieces. Nell, I could literally talk to you all day. I'm really angry that Minnesota is so far from Texas. I think we would be lovely friends. I think we would like have so much fun together, and you are worth a trip. I might just end up on your doorstep one day and just
get up here.
I would in a heartbeat. You know what? It's going to happen. I'm not kidding. I'm not just saying it. I am really that personality, and you are invited here anytime. As Shannon went, I ended up at her doorstep one time in Grand Rapids.
Yep.
I love Shannon.
Yeah, you get on up here and I'm coming down there. You can come see me.
Okay, perfect. We just made that happen. Well, you're one of my dear girlfriends. I love you to pieces. And I thank you for the support and everything that you give to me and the other women that are online. At the end of all of my conversations with my lovely guests, I always ask them, how can we pray for you? No matter when someone's listening to this recording, I'm going to ask them to stop and pray for you and your intentions. So at this moment, what is something that you need right now?
Just deeper surrender to God's will. Stop fighting it. Just roll with it now. More docility for sure.
I love that. I might steal that one.
We all need it. Like, you do that so well. I see that online. Anytime you're suffering, you always put up the box like, how can I pray for you during this hard time? And I think, man, no suffering goes wasted.
No.
Thank you for being an example to me in that. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're so You're so amazing, Nell. I can't with you. You're the sweetest. Yeah, listen, hey, we're all going to suffer. Might as well use it for something. It's not like it takes it away. So that's kind of how I see it. And every single person is out there suffering. And you, friend, you do it with a smile on your face. And I love you for it. So, Nell, thank you so much for your time and your wisdom and your story and all the things. Nothing but love to you. Mwah. Lots of big kisses from Texas.
Thank you so much, dear. Talk to you soon.